Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. Great to be with you this Monday morning. Today is Monday, January 26th, 2026. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central, and here we are today. So I have my screen shared. You should see my shared screen with 509pacific.org on it. And also, if I bring it back up, you should see our notepad that has some of our talking points. So, with that being said, the website again is 509pacific.org as is shown here. If we scroll up to the top, see the logo, the quick cache, which isn't what we're talking about here at the middle of the page, is where we're going to be navigating. We put our past trainings up on YouTube, so you can always see those if you want. As a 501c3 nonprofit, we have received a grant. There are three mandates, one of which is to improve financial literacy. The second is to give away free shelf corps, and the third is to help participants use that knowledge and those shelf corps to be able to raise capital. Earlier this month of January, we rolled out the Special Purpose Entity, SPE campaign, and it has exceeded all of our expectations, and many of you have come back with really positive confirmations. Cameron, thank you for your comments and many others. So, with that being said, we're going to strengthen or clean up a little bit some of the resources regarding SPE. So, first of all, on 509pacific.org, what's here on the website has been here, but we have cleaned up the packet. So now on number two, if we click on it, we can see the new packet. So this packet is specifically for the SPE offering. It starts with the flyer, which we've gone through. Hopefully, all of you have a copy of the flyer if you want. It comes to you in editable version. We've gone through it in detail. So the flyer is the first page of the SPE packet. And then the second page is the application, because there is no upfront cost for people to participate in the special purpose entity. That doesn't mean it's free, just means there's no upfront cost. So it'll be covered through the funding that the financing that's raised. So similar to before, there's two parts to the application. The top is the business, the bottom is the key person. The business, if we don't have any or all of it is optional. The key person is required information. So the point is now on 509pacific.org, we still ask people to start with the training to get familiar with it. There's additional bonus training here, but the application packet is specific to the SPE program now. So with that, well, we'll pause at that. So let me go back to the agenda. We're going to be rolling out new landing pages. And so with the new landing pages that are focused on the SPE, it will drive, so each of you will get a free landing page, but it'll drive your prospects to the same packet that we just went through, which makes sense because we're really trying to focus on the SPE offering. So let me ask you a question. If you were to objectively look at what we're doing with the SPE offering, why do you think that it's so well received? What would be your comments? You can type them into the Q&A. So Ben or Bernard, Daniel, we have 526 of you on at this moment. Why do you think that the SPE is being so well received in the marketplace? All right. Well, Kenneth mentions, and we kind of have the bulleted list, but Kenneth, right out of the bat, mentions there's no upfront cost. So people like where there's no upfront cost, they pay out of the results. So I agree with Kenneth. Gilbert makes a great point, and it's probably the primary point. The SPE provides the entire formula for funding. So let me bring up the notepad. What have we talked about? Bring this down a bit. We've talked many times before about the formula for funding. And the formula for funding is E plus the three C's. So if we want a fundable business, what do we know? We need to have an entity that's compliant, that's set up properly. We use Shelf Corps for that. Shelf Corp comes free. So it's a for-profit C Corp. And then we also need the three C's. That's what lenders typically look at. And so we need to have credit worthiness. We address that by adding the trade lines. That's included. Secondly, would be collateral. We provide $250,000 of collateral for free. And then the third C is capacity, also known as cash flow. And we're providing that by in the first month. Let's go ahead and break it down because it's maybe too big of a deal just to gloss over. So if the first C is credit worthiness, do we address that? Yes. And that's the fourth bullet here. We build out the Dun and Bradstreet profile, and then we add trade lines. So we build business credit worthiness. Great. Second, we mentioned is collateral. A lot of people aren't like you and I. A lot of people, they want funding, but they don't have enough collateral to qualify. So we actually include $250,000 of collateral for free. Now, if they want more than 250,000, then we might have a collateral shortfall, and the way we could resolve that would be giving them more, providing them more collateral or repeating the process more often, but we include credit worthiness. So we'll say trade lines added. We provide the collateral up to 250,000. Sometimes people aren't quite as sophisticated as you, and they'll think, oh, I should get $1 billion of collateral. No, it's a specific amount. It's 250,000. So that is enough for a $250,000 loan. And then the third, which is what we were on before we started regressing and typing, is capacity or cash flow. This is where we ran into the biggest problem historically. We had smart people, great people, motivated people, but they didn't have the cash flow to be able to support their desired capital raise. So, sure, we can put together projections, and we do that, and that's included here in the loan package, the third bullet. But what about money that's actually coming in now to be able to afford to get the business set up properly and to be able to show lenders that we can afford the loan? That wasn't included in the prior iteration. Now it's built in. And so this one, two, three, four, sixth bullet, and let's go ahead and type it. We're promising, we're guaranteeing, let's write it down, guaranteed 250,000 of income in first month. So that's a big deal. I know you could fall into one, two categories. You might be here because you're interested in funding for your business, fine. Some of you are our distribution partners. For those of you that are distribution partners, this is a no-brainer because instead of you needing to go out and find clients, we already have clients. We're drowning in clients. We need help. We need your help, Rod. We need your help, Eduardo. We need your help, Thuke. We need help from all of you to deal with the amount of new clients we have coming in. So with the SPE branch office model, we're actually giving you 25 contracted clients to work with. So when we transfer those contracts to you, each of those 25 contracted clients now owes you, your SPE, your branch, $10,000. That's where the 250,000 comes from. So this package is far superior. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Historically, everything was kind of a la carte, bits and pieces, and that was okay. But sometimes people would give up or quit, or they wouldn't prevail. They would stop. They didn't have all three C's, and then they'd become frustrated and quit. Here, we've just decided we don't want that to happen anymore. We want to have 100% client satisfaction. We want to have 100% clients getting funded at least 250,000. So now we're providing them the entire formula for funding. It wasn't like we were holding back before, but this does have a higher cost, right? And Thuk was asking about the cost. We're very transparent. You see exactly there is a deposit, a $5,000 deposit for the SPE, but you don't have to pay anything out of pocket, right? It's paid out of financing, and we guarantee financing. We have a lender that will finance this to anyone because, frankly, we're the guarantor, we're the PG on it. So, yes, I agree. For those of you that are just looking for capital, this makes a lot of sense because it includes the entire formula for funding. But for those of you that are primarily looking to be a distribution partner, if you're not very good at generating clients, then this resolves it. Because we have so many clients coming in. I'm not blowing smoke. We have so many new clients signing contracts every day. We can't keep up. So that's why we're willing to transfer these clients so you all can work with them. And now we'll still provide the back office. It's not a problem of us being able to provide the back office services for a very large number of clientele. But to be able to maintain the customer service, the interaction, we're at capacity. So, Cameron, if you're willing to take on 25 new clients, we can get you 25 new clients this month. Rod, if you're willing to take on 25 new clients that each owe you 10,000. So this is great for those of you that want to be distribution partners. And then for entrepreneurs that really don't want to be an affiliate, they don't really want to be run a branch office, it's fine. We're not forcing them to do something they don't want, but it is set up as a shelf corp that is set up as a management consulting firm that provides loan brokerage services. And the bottom line is we have clients that we can transfer to you that will generate a significant income, which is one of the three C's. So back to the new landing pages. So we'll have new landing pages coming soon. There won't be any cost for those, and it'll be built around the SPE platform. This is really what our focus is in 2026. Now, going back to our website, can people still come in for the normal free funding proposal? Absolutely. This isn't going away. And the free funding proposal is fine as an initial step to get people in, get them that first tranche. But I don't know that you can beat the value proposition of the SPE because A, there's no out of pocket, and then secondly, it includes everything needed for funding with the guarantee of a larger capital raise. So third element is we're down to our final two candidates. We're doing our final round of interviews Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday afternoon. We have one gentleman and one lady. Both are attorneys, and we'll be hopefully getting an offer to one of the two of them by the end of this week. And they will then come on and be able to support each of you that are distribution partners. You'll be their focus. You'll have their direct number. You'll be able to call them a million times a day if that's what you want to do. And then as you're feeding people into your landing page, then that affiliate manager is going to be the one kind of as the case manager for the clients that you're submitting in. So I think it's going to really help us better support those of you that are distribution partners. And we'll find out, hopefully by the end of the week, who's coming aboard in that capacity. All right, so I see a question we have, and it's a good one. What happens if we have a client that came in under the original platform, but that wants to switch over to the SPE? That's perfectly fine. We have quite a few of you that have done that over the past few days. So we have a simple one-page addendum. So assuming that you've already came in, you've already gotten the free funding proposal, we've already established a client relationship. We don't need to start over. What we can do is essentially we have a one-page addendum that essentially just captures what we've talked about here. It states that we will provide the higher guarantee of 250,000 will, which is stated down here, 250,000 a guaranteed business loan. It states these other elements. So essentially, it brings you up to the current platform. So that's perfectly fine. And so while there is a deposit of $5,000 for the SPE, of course, we would apply what you've already paid, of course. So you wouldn't lose that. So essentially, we could switch you over if you'd like to do that. If you need help doing that, just give us a call, 903-352-3390. That's our main number for 509 Pacific. All right, let's see. Matthew's asking about the locations. So the concept, which we've gone into a lot of detail, and so I'm not getting this deep, but if you've not seen the two trainings that are on the website and you're trying to better understand how the SPE works, it would be very important for you to go back and view these two trainings to understand it. But with that being said, the concept is we're using a shelf corp that's set up as a management consulting firm that is a loan broker, and that's how we're going to go get the funding under that model, that business model, and we can get 250,000 for each branch office. Can we go above 250,000? Possibly, but these types of branch offices are management consulting, so they're not real capital intensive. So if we had someone that came to us and said, "Well, I need $1 million, I'll do this, but I need a million," it's frankly unlikely that we can do $1 million working capital raise off of a branch office. It won't support it. Therefore, we would need to repeat the process. So this gets to Matthew's point. So each of the branch offices can be operated or not operated. It's up to you all, but it's the model that we can get funding off of. So what I suspect is some of you will use the SPE and just use it for a capital raise alone and not really worry about running a branch office, which is fine. And then others of you will use this for funding, but also run a branch office, which is fine. We're going to have one branch office per county, and the reasons for that we've addressed in these other trainings you can go into more. But as far as Matthew's asking about the office, we can either have the branch office that you're operating, which could be singular or plural. You could either own the real estate or you could lease the office. It's not a franchise. It's not highly regulated, and that's really explained by the fact that you can not even operate your branch office if you don't want to. I know you might say, well, why do a branch office if I'm not going to operate it? Because we have to build a loan structure that's fundable. And historically, we had a problem with people that came to us and what they wanted wasn't fundable. They wanted really big numbers, and we couldn't justify that to the lender. So what we can do is get $250,000, 250,000 per branch office. If 250,000 is not enough, then we can do a couple things. We can either open multiple branch offices or we can change the industry. So maybe it won't be under management consulting. Maybe management consulting won't support the capital raise that someone wants. So maybe we need to change it to running a restaurant or running a hotel or what have you. But the branch office works really well for funding increments in 250,000, and that is very detailed, delineated in the two different trainings to understand that. All right, so who else has questions? Like Ernest has a question, and you're right, Ernest. So let me pull the notepad up. So we're going to do some pretty significant branding off of the SPEs. So not only will each of you have an SPE landing page, if that's something that you want to promote, we will have a new website, and the new website will be geared specifically on the SPE program. And to be honest with you, we're actually forming a brand new entity that's going to be the umbrella for all of the SPEs, and that is in process. So by February 1st, all that should be in place. Ben asked about the capital raise for the SPEs. Yes, so we can build the capital raise as desired, but normally it starts with 250,000 of working capital. So in other words, cash infusion. If you're like Matthew, and I think Matthew's in San Diego, if I recall, if you wanted to also own a building, then we could do more of a capital raise because in addition to the 250,000 working capital, then we could go get real estate, company car, so forth. But as a management consulting firm for working capital, 250,000 per location is about the upper buffer that it can qualify for. So, yes, we can do more if we're getting real estate or equipment, vehicles, but for working capital, about 250 per locations where we're maxing. So, if that's not enough, we can repeat this multiple times or we can change the industry code away from management consulting, whichever the client wants. Um, Tijani is asking about ABL. No, so ABL is very important. So asset-based lending is a big deal to us, and so that falls under the general category. So each of you that have a landing page, and just so you know what your landing page looks like, it looks like fundingproposal.org. Each of you should have a landing page. If you don't, come over to 509pacific.org and fill out the link to become an affiliate. So the current landing page is the generic one, which works for ABL, SBA loans, just general business funding. So that's alive and well, Tajani. Nothing's changing there. So those of you want to continue that campaign, you're welcome to. Again, you should all have landing pages that look just like this. My point is that we're going to really embrace the SPE offering because it does have so much traction and it meets what many people need, which is a turnkey solution. It's all built in. The entity, the shelf corp, and all three C's are built in. I think what happens in Tajani is an example, and this is a compliment, not a criticism. For some of you to say, hey, we can help the client have $250,000 of income in the first month, to people like Tajani, those of you that are high earners, that just doesn't sound like much. It's not a big deal. But for the average small business seems to struggle to make any cash flow in month one and often in month two. But what we can do is literally, it's like connecting a fire hose. So we can just spray them with income through those 25 new clients. And by doing so, what happens? Now their bank accounts look stronger. They have money to spend on things. Their financials, their balance sheet, and their income statement, also known as a P&L, looks stronger for business funding. So it's a recipe. Driving in a large amount of income quickly to a business makes a big difference to the average client. Again, for those of you that are high income earners, an extra 250,000 in a month, I guess isn't a big deal, but it's to me it's pretty significant and we're taking care. You're not paying us to go do the marketing. We've got the clients. We just need people to help us with them. So you get the clients and we assign the clients over to you and your branch office. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Matthew's also asking a little bit about locations. So, as we've covered in the prior trainings, we're only going to have one branch office per county across the United States. So, again, we covered that in the prior trainings. Why is that? In summary, we have to do a feasibility analysis, and it's a lot easier for us to look at all the data of a given county and not have to split that across multiple branch offices. So when we look at the number of new start businesses, for example, in Harris County, Texas, where Houston is, we can then use that for our projections for that branch office. But if we weren't going to limit it to one, then it becomes more complicated. Well, how many branch offices are we going to have in Houston? How is that market potential divided? So we're going to have one branch office per county across the United States. Frankly, with this model, the individual can decide to operate the branch office or not. Doesn't make much sense to me to not, but I know some people won't, and that's fine. It's not a franchise, it's not regulated. And so you'll just need to check in with us to see if the county and state that you're interested in is available. Doesn't affect the funding. The funding can work in a remote county in North Dakota, just like it can in Cook County, Illinois, where Chicago is. But you're right. We have a finite number of branch offices, about 3,000 that we can use this model for. But it's working well, works 100% of the time. We can get everyone 250,000 of capital raise, and it's predictable. We've eliminated the variability that has historically kind of haunted us because when we're working with people to build something, there's a lot of things that could go wrong and it often could involve the client's lack of participation. In this case, it's all there, which we just discussed. We're providing the entity, the Shelf Corp. We're providing the credit worthiness by adding the trade lines. We just had a training on Friday looking at some of the trade lines that we're adding that are over 300,000 in size. We're providing the collateral for free. It's not an upcharge, it's included. And then we're resolving that issue that many of these small businesses have had historically, which is their cash flow just doesn't look so good. They look like they're insolvent. They look like they're broke. And we're going to fix that through getting them the 250,000 to 25 new clients. Real clients, real contracts that really owe the branch, the SPE 10,000 apiece. All right, so questions. Let's see. Alexander asked, yes, it does not matter if the individual has a strong personal credit profile or not. It doesn't matter if the individual is a U.S. citizen or not. This model will work. It's not dependent upon the business owner in the same way that you may be thinking. All right, so let's see. I think we've addressed most of the questions. There's quite a few there, but in summary, so let's just wrap it up for this Monday morning. So we're really excited about the momentum we have of the SPE program, the special purpose entity, sometimes called SPV, special purpose vehicle. So it's validated itself. We're 100% of the clients that are enrolling are getting the funding as we stated. It's working. So with that, we're going to put more emphasis on that. So we have the new packet, which I've shown you. It's actually here. The new packet is put together and it's accessed currently on 509pacific.org right here. Second point is that we're putting together new landing pages. So instead of the generic landing page, you'll have an option to have at no charge a landing page that's SPE specific. And then our third element is that we are hiring a new affiliate manager. We're down to two final candidates, and we'll be interviewing them one last time on Wednesday, hopefully to have them secured. They may not be working by February 1st, but we'll have an offer and we'll know when they're going to start because they're all working at other law firms now. All right. If there's anything else you need, let us know. Our phone number is, of course, here on our website, 509pacific.org. You can give us a call, 903-352-3390, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Bye-bye.